Hi, I'm going to walk you through the process of adding a bumper to a empty pinball program created in Scratch. This is the same process that visitors to our Maker Faire station had to follow to add functionality to our pinball game. So the first step is to add a new sprite, which is just a two-dimensional image to our game. So we can either choose a sprite that comes with Scratch, or we can make our own. I'm going to just choose an existing image to make our lives easier. And it comes with many different pictures, but I'm going to go with a planet. So I'll select it and hit OK, and you'll see that it's added to our canvas. To the right, this blank square here is where we can add code. So anytime we start the program, we click on the green flag. So we want our code to start whenever the game starts. So I'm going to take the green flag block from the event section and drag it over to our canvas. Next, I'm going to take a loop from the control section of our blocks, and I want all the logic to continue to happen forever while the game is running. So I'll drag the forever loop over to our logic box here as well. Now we want to detect when the ball actually hits our new sprite. So I'm going to take another block from the control section here. This is an if-then block. So this is a conditional block. This will only execute the code inside the if statement if the condition is fulfilled up top. So what we'd like to do is detect if the ball is hitting our new sprite here, the planet. So what I'll do is choose a block from the sensing section, and Scratch makes this very easy for us. All I need to do is take this block that says touching, I'll drag it inside the start of our if statement here. So if our bumper is touching the pinball, then all the code inside of it will execute. So now we get to decide what we'd like to happen once the ball is hitting our new bumper. So we have many different choices here, and our visitors got to choose what they wanted to add. So one thing we could do is we could update the score. We already have a variable called score created in our program, and we can change the score by whatever amount we'd like. So I'm going to drag this change score block inside our if statement. So this will only happen if the ball is hitting our bumper. And we can change it by any amount. I'll just do a nice round number like 100. Some of the visitors decided to go into the code and change that so they could rack up high scores and beat their siblings. We could also have the ball bounce off the bumper, and we made this easy for visitors by having an event set up called bounce ball. So in the ball code, we have a little statement here that says if we receive a message called bounce ball, then the ball should turn around. It actually adds a random element to that, so it's not always bouncing in a perfect symmetrical bounce, and then it starts to move away from the object. So we can take advantage of that in the code of our bumper by broadcasting a message that says bounce the ball off this bumper. Now at this point we probably want to test this out to actually see if it works. So I'm going to restart our pinball game here, and let's see if the score actually is updated and if the ball bounces off our new planet bumper. Yep, and we can see the score was updated a couple times as it bounced off of that, and it does appear to bounce and sometimes get hung up on our new bumper. Now that's due to the physics of the program, and we found that that was very challenging to get right. So in the simplified version, we just have a simplified version of the physics engine needed for a pinball game. Alright, I'm going to stop it now. What's cool about Scratch is you can actually update the code as the program is running and you can see those changes immediately. But sometimes it's nice to just stop everything and update our code. So we have a few other options that we could do at this point. Another popular option was to change the look of our bumper. So underneath the look section of our blocks, you can find several options. Let's go ahead and change the color of our bumper whenever it gets hit. So again, this is built in the scratch. We can just change the color effect by 25, and you can play with that number to have a more drastic change each time this executes. But again, let's just test this out and see what it looks like. Alright, we missed the bumper. You can always drag things around and see if we could get it in the path of the ball. So wow, we really got it in the path of the ball there, and it got a little stuck. So let's try bouncing it off and see if we can get it to change color. Alright, it's getting a little stuck again. But yeah, we definitely know that the color changing code works. So let's again stop it. Come back over here. Another option that we could do is have a sound play once the ball hits our bumper. So we can come down here and just choose a preloaded sound. We'll choose the play sound block here. There are some preloaded sounds that you can choose from, but pop is one that we have built in already. So let's see if it makes a sound now as the ball hits the bumper, and hopefully it will actually hit the bumper. Alright. Yep. It's definitely popping like popcorn. Alright, so that works. Multiple times, in fact. And let's just try one more effect. So if I go back to the look section here, one thing I saw visitors doing that I didn't even realize was possible is that they chose a different effect. So in addition to changing the color, there's different options that you can choose from here. And one that they were using is the fisheye effect, which distorts the image of the bumper. So if we try this out again, you can see every time it hits it, creates that distortion on the image. But it's cumulative, so it keeps adding up each time the ball hits that bumper. So we can try to fix that as it looks stranger and stranger. So what we could do is add another block of code outside this if statement. So as I mentioned, all the code inside this if statement is executed when the ball hits the bumper, but when the ball leaves the bumper, we could reset that fisheye effect. So what we could do is take another block that says set an effect back to 0. So I'm going to put that on top of or over our if statement. And I'm going to make the fisheye effect reset to 0 every time the ball leaves the bumper. So in this case, we should see the distortion, but then we should also see it reset once the ball leaves the bumper. So let's test all this accumulation of changes that we made to our bumper and see how it works. Yep, so we got addition to the score, we've got color changes, we've got sounds, and we also have that distortion, but we also reset that distortion when the ball is no longer hitting it. All right, thank you very much. I hope you get to try this out on your own.